Hey, so I'm back home. It's beautiful out. I had to go out and get a few grocery type things. I got a nasty cold right before I left from Eugene, Oregon to get back here to Wrangell, Alaska. So I had to actually reschedule my flight. I mean, I was just like super sore throat, snot coming out. So I was supposed to leave last Friday and I didn't get back in until Tuesday this week. I'm crying. It's cold out. So I'm gonna head back up to the house. Hey, so I'm back at the property. It's only like a 10-minute walk from downtown back up to the property. So it's pretty cool to have something that's such a big lot, so close to town. So let's take a look-see over here at, let's see, compost. Oh, this thing. It's just 40 degrees, so it's not really composting, really. We got 3 of these things full. Well, not full. They were full. Whoa! That one. And this one's just the kind of house compost. So there's greenhouse and garden. What's interesting, oh my gosh, so let's see. Oh, we might have 6 inches of snow on the ground. We don't get any more than, it's always less than a foot. Oh my gosh. But what's been happening, and this is typical, kind of January, February, we get these really clear blue sky days, and then so it'll be, it'll be above freezing in the daytime and then below freezing at night, and so it melts and then refreezes and it gets pretty nasty. Although I think it's going to be sunny enough and warm enough that the main roads will be dry. It's just, back anywhere else or even on the sidewalks in town, it'll be super icy. Take a look here. Whoa, whoa. Let's see. Yeah, there's the snow up against the greenhouse, but because of this, what do you call it, cathedral-like design, the snow comes right off of it. And that's shrink wrap. I've got to do a video about my greenhouse and what I need to make changes to it. The sun is actually, so we're at the end, towards the end of February, and the sun is kind of hitting here a little bit through the day. So that is, the sun comes up above those trees in April, at the beginning of April. And so I wasn't really thinking when all the way back here we might be getting a little more sun, actually. So that's super cool to think that in March I might be able to actually get some starts going even. Anyway, interesting. I'm gonna head back to the house. I was thinking today that I might talk about when my first start dates might be. I want to look at some of my historical, I took notes from when I had a garden out the road, you know, before we got this property here. And I wrote down, you know, when I started things and started trays, or when I direct seeded things, and when I planted them out, and then when, you know, I was able to harvest them. And my notes are kind of half-assed, but it might give me some ideas. You know, I was always late starting. It's like, oh, well, we got to get the greenhouse up, or, oh, you know, everything was kind of late. So it's not necessarily showing, you know, optimal times for when I would start things, and you know, when they would mature, but it might give me kind of an idea if I look at each of those years. So I'm gonna hopefully get to that today. So eventually I want to have a nursery off the front of the house here so that I can maintain heat there and lights if I need, so that I can get things going early in the spring. But that's not going to happen this year, maybe next year. Okay, so it is February 23rd, 2019. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and there is sun on my freaking greenhouse. The sun is coming up high enough at this time of year to hit this area of the property. So this is super exciting. Now, so you can see some of these really big trees. Now, those big trees are on, well, some of them are on our property, but some of them are on the neighbor's property, and we wanted that as a buffer, you know, between us and them for both of our privacy. And then, but these trees right here are on our property, and they need to come down. So it'll be interesting. We've got a whole week of these blue sky, completely blue sky days. So I'm just going to keep track of where the sun is coming along here. Let's take a look inside here. It's warm in here. I don't have the thermometer sensor there. It's not being picked up at the house, so I've got to figure out what's going on so I can get that temperature going so I can look at it every day. What's really cool is this soil, at least on the surface, is dry. And then what I thought afterwards was such a stupid idea of spreading out this compost to try and dry it out in the fall when I was trying to make starter soil. Well, it's looks like it's totally drying up. So I'm going to be able to finish that starter soil, which has been one of the things that has caused me to be late in previous years, because, you know, stuff was outside in a compost pile that was frozen solid. Okay, so this is super exciting. Head back to the house. Hey, so I wanted to talk today about when I want to get my starts going this year. I was just out of the greenhouse today and then also yesterday, and I noticed that the sun is already hitting that end of the property where the greenhouse is at the end of February. So I was not expecting to be able to get started soon, because my notes from last year show that near the house here, the sun doesn't come up over those trees until the beginning of April. But that greenhouse is located farther back, and so it's already getting light. So that's super exciting, because I think I can actually get started earlier. I was looking at my notes from when I had a garden out the road on somebody else's property. Well, you know what's really interesting is in all of my earlier videos, I was saying that I had a garden there in 2013 and 2014. That was because the first year I was just writing the days of the month and not the year. And so there's only 1 or 2 entries here in August where it says 2012. So I was actually out there for 3 years. The information isn't really super helpful as far as when to get started, because I was always getting started like in April and May because I needed to get a greenhouse up, or the compost outside was still frozen solid, so I couldn't make starter soil, or I couldn't direct seed because I hadn't tilled yet. This doesn't really help as far as that, but I mean, there's lots of information. I've been kind of putting this down in my computer here. Farragut Farms Facebook page. Their farm is located kind of to the northeast of us, of Wrangell. I noticed that at the very beginning of April in 2017, they've posted that they are already planning out starts. So you know that they're starting as early as March or so. Our last frost date is April 23rd. But we've had a lot of times in March where I've thought, man, I could just get starts going now, just because in the greenhouse it's been warm enough consistently, even though like we'll oftentimes have snow on the ground still in April. So that was cool to see, and now to see that the greenhouse is already getting light. I need to get started sooner than later then. You know, I need to get that greenhouse turned 90 degrees to where it needs to eventually be, which is going to require that I somehow get that bed full of soil in there moved. I need to get my shoveling muscles in shape again anyway, so I can go ahead and do that. I need to get it looks like the compost that's spread out in there is dry. I can get some soil going. I need to get the tools out of there. So I think that's what I'll be focusing on in the next couple of weeks. And I was also kind of putting off getting seeds because I thought, well, I don't really need to get them right away, but I think I'm going to get those coming this direction as well. And you know, there may be something or some things that come up that are going to kind of set me back more than I'm expecting. You know, I might as well give it a try. Okay, it's 2:30 and the sun is hidden behind that big tall cedar there. I'm going to keep checking to see where the sun is. It should come out behind that gap, and then we've got another big cedar right there. All right, you guys, it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and so you remember how the last time the sun was being was hidden behind that big cedar right there? Well, now it's right there, and it's gone down so far that pretty soon it's not going to be hitting the property at all. So here I was like super excited, like, oh my gosh, the sun's hitting the greenhouse. This is so great. So I don't know how many hours it's actually hitting the greenhouse. I'll have to kind of start tracking it a little bit earlier tomorrow to see like where it's at for real from hour to hour. And then also I was looking at, you know, the Farragut farm, and I was like, oh, hey, look, in April, early April 2017, they were already planting out their starts. But they were planting their starts out into their big, huge greenhouse. Not out, you know, in, you know, the outside. So I'm just going to have to sit here and think about, like, okay, how's this actually supposed to work on my piece of property? But it'll be interesting to actually get out tomorrow and kind of take a look at, like I said, from hour to hour, where the sun is at. There's the greenhouse. Not much sun now. And also, nighttime temperatures are in the 20s still. So if I was going to do anything, I would have to have it, you know, warmer at night.